What's happening, everyone? Sam, aka FIFA Brit here, and welcome back to another episode of The Final Third. I am joined by my favorite co-host in the entire world, Mr. Brad Thomas. Brad, how have you been? We've got a little late night recording sesh going on here. We usually record at like 4 or 5 o'clock. Of course, the sirens begin immediately.
No matter what time.
The second that we start recording. But yeah, we usually record in the afternoon. We got a little late night sesh going on, which is why if you're watching on YouTube, I'm a little dressed down. I'm in my Patriots top and got a blurred background because I don't want anyone seeing the rest of my place. But how you doing, Brad? How's your week been?
Week's been going great. I guess I opened up a can of worms on social media though.
Me
it's
too.
Pretty interesting. Had I known I've been going viral for just getting something off my chest, I would have probably made it a little bit more thought out. But
why did you go viral this week, Brad? I know why I went viral this week, but why did you go viral this week?
Oh, bro, because I said that I basically was like, people who get mad at people for selling pics are delusional. Right?
Oh, like yeah. People are getting their knickers in a twist about all this.
Dude, yeah, they are. I said it after some dude like came after me, dude, was like he was like, if you lose, do your customers get refunds? And I was like, no, dude. Bro, he's like, that's why selling pics is stupid. And it sent me on a spiral yesterday, bro.
Yeah,
I was on a spiral. I was like cursing out the air, bro, and I made the post. Mind you, I went out last night, right?
Oh yeah.
I went out last night. My phone died.
Oh damn.
My phone died. Didn't even know where my phone was. Like, I made it home safe, by the way.
That's good. That's good. As we have you here on the show, I would hope so.
In the morning, it's got like 60 likes, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is what you guys are liking? And then
so funny.
The freaking thumb army's coming after me, calling me everything but a child of God. I'm like, dude, guys, relax. It will be all right.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, I always try, because it's such a like fine line to balance, because you like, I'm sure you agree, but like, you want people to be cautious of people who are like trying to scam you. And that's not just with like stuff to do with gambling. That's just like in general, like, hey, just common sense. Don't give money to someone if they don't have like a good track record, and stuff like that. Like, I think we're both pretty good at figuring out like what a scam is. Some people aren't. So like, I would always say, always be very vigilant about that kind of stuff. And like, if you're going to pay someone for a service, then make sure you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that all paid services are scams. That's like a terrible way to look at things, because, obviously, we're offering, services here. It takes, time is money for a start. The amount of time that has to go into all of this research is different. Is a lot of time. Plus, like the technology on the back end when it comes to like editing videos, all the software, stuff like that. Like, it all costs money to put out, all this free content, quote unquote free for people to consume. Still costs money to produce. So if you can make some money back selling your expertise and your knowledge, that's, I think that's absolutely fair enough. You're a smart guy. I'm a smart guy. Not to blow our own trumpets here, but I don't think it's that unreasonable to offer a paid service if you're good at your job and you aren't scamming people.
Yeah, I get the sentiment that a lot of people are afraid, right? Like, of the scammers out there.
Yeah,
but it's all these guys who are so high and mighty, like their way is the way. Like, they're all knowing. It's just, that's how kind of social media is nowadays, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you remember last week when I went on my absolute rant about what just modern day discourse is on social media, it all ties up to that. It's all just a great big dick swinging contest, and it's just like, okay, you know what? It's okay to have a medium-sized dick. This is a metaphor, I promise.
Oh, okay.
This is the metaphor.
Dude, I got this medium-sized dick.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. My girlfriend said it was fine. Anyway, enough about that. That's why you went viral. That makes sense. I went viral because I introduced Liverpool fans to objective reality.
Because you're not.
And I'm not going to hark on about it too much, even though I did put Merseyside Derby shenanigans in my breakdown for what we should talk about as what happened this week. But, I mean, for a start, and I've spoken about this before because, to no surprise to anyone, I predicted this. I said when things affect Arsenal, nobody cares, and it's cool to make fun of Arsenal fans, even though we're all united here when it comes to bad decisions. Nobody wants bad officiating. And I think for the most part, we all agree that Michael Oliver specifically is not a brilliant referee. Of course, when this affects Arsenal, everyone would prefer to pile into Arsenal fans and make fun of them rather than being like, hey, let's hear them out. Actually, they've got some good points. And then, of course, in the Merseyside Derby, Michael Oliver is the ref. There are a couple of what I would say questionable decisions. The foul, quote unquote, on Ndiaye from McAllister that led to Everton's first goal was Ndiaye's reaction was a little exaggerated. I still think McAllister made contact with the leg, but did Ndiaye go down pretty easily? Yeah, I would say so. That being said, it was still a free kick on the halfway line, and a single pass should not be cutting through a back line of Konate and Van Dijk as easily as it did. So, is the decision questionable? Yes, but it rings true. It doesn't ring true. It sounds very similar to how Spurs fans were whining about the fact that Arsenal's corner wasn't a corner. Is it? I group those kinds of decisions in a very different category to someone getting a red card or a penalty that shouldn't be a penalty. Those are actually game changing things that directly impact the course of a match. Whereas giving a corner that probably should be a goal kick, or giving a free kick on the halfway line that might not necessarily be a foul. Those are potentially incorrect decisions, but they're not game-changing decisions in and of themselves. You still have to score a corner, and you can defend a corner. You still have to do something with a free kick on the halfway line. Now, sure, you can make that argument and be like, well, if you concede a penalty, you can still save the penalty. Yeah, but walk down this path with me. These are not the same level of incident. A penalty is a penalty. A red card is a red card. Hopefully, we can all agree those are game-changing decisions, even though technically you can still do something about them. You're restricted in what you can do about them. But a corner that should be a goal kick, you can still defend. It's most likely going to end up as just another wasted corner. You still have to do something with it. Arsenal obviously scored the corner against Spurs. Everton obviously scored this free kick. But then, the fact that so many people were getting up in arms about the added time, and I hate this, because you can tell who hasn't watched the game, and you can tell who's getting all their news, and you can tell who's getting all their news from Twitter. Because if you just looked up at the score, and I'm going to apologize in advance, Brad, because I know you bet on Liverpool to win. So I understand that this decision upset you. That being said,
I was biased.
It was correct. So I'm sorry in advance. But if you look it up, if you go onto FOTMob and you just look at the events, what you're going to see is 5 minutes at a time and the goal scored in the 98th minute. Now, obviously, if you don't know what happened and you didn't watch the game, that's going to seem like there were 3 minutes played for no reason, and Everton were just allowed to play until they equalized. Obviously, that looks bad. If you watch the game, during the 5 minutes of added time, Alisson takes about a minute to take 2 of his goal kicks, and the ref told him to hurry up both times. How he didn't get a yellow card, I don't know. It was the most obvious time wasting you'll ever see.
Yeah.
He rolled the ball out, and then he gave it to the defender, who then gave it back to him to take it. It was come on, guys. So how he didn't get a yellow card, I don't know. That burns off, call it a minute. And I think that's being generous, but we'll call it a minute. Either way, it's not that relevant. In the 93rd minute, and I took the timestamps, but I'm not going to go pull the timestamps because my tweet, the tweet outline of the timestamps is what went viral. Around 93:45 or so, there's almost a minute and a half left in the 5 minutes added on. 2 Everton players collide with each other and go down and need attention. The game doesn't resume until 95:30, 95:45. Yeah. So you know, several minutes later, call it 2 minutes later, and there was still over a minute left in what should have been played, plus whatever the ref wanted to give for Alisson's time wasting. Whether he factored that in or not, we'll never know. The goal was then scored, and of course, this is what's misleading. You see 98th minute, you think, 98 minutes. It was scored at 97:10. It was scored at 97:10, the 97th minute and 10 seconds. So yeah, that's classified as 98 minute, but it was about just over a minute after play resumed after the injury break. So the amount of time added on was perfectly in line with the amount of time that was lost from the injury. But if you weren't watching the game, then you don't know that. And then you log on and people were just crying about it on Twitter. There was a whole whether people were just spreading misinformation on purpose, or whether they were just genuinely, they'd seen it shared elsewhere and they were just blindlessly, that's not a word. They were just blindly reposting. Mad, obviously, you're a Liverpool fan. You've just choked a derby to your local rivals. Obviously, you're not going to be thinking straight, and I understand that. I've been in the same place. But people were sharing a screenshot of the replay of the incident, the actual close-up instant replay of what happened to the two Everton players as they ran into each other, which was taken at 94:45 or something like that. Basically, added time was almost done, and everyone's like, "Wow, these Everton players collided into each other with 15 seconds left in the game. Why didn't the referee just end the game there?" And it was just like, that's the replay. The replay was shown on the broadcast a minute after it happened. And people were arguing with that. And every time someone argued with that, I was just like, okay, rewind the game and film from the 93rd minute onwards. Just film for a minute or two and show me what happens. And funnily enough, they all went quiet, either because they realized they were wrong or they just didn't want to admit that they were wrong. So I don't understand why so many people are just hell bent on lying about things, and either they're intentionally lying or they have just been misinformed by other posts that they've seen.
Yeah,
and it's just and this is what pisses me off, because once someone starts going down this road, you can't reason with them. They're just like, I bet if this happened to Arsenal, you'd be on our side. You wouldn't be in favor of what happened here. If this happened to Arsenal, you'd be mad too. And it's just once someone goes down that road, all whatever slim, vagrant, slither of hope that you had of having a rational conversation with that person is gone, because you can't convince them that one, they've just invented a hypothetical scenario. They've just been like, well, if this happened to Arsenal, you would disagree, therefore you're a hypocrite.
Yeah.
What? I'm a hypocrite based on this made up scenario in your head. It's just obviously, I'm going to say when decisions that are wrong go against Arsenal, I'm going to be mad. When decisions that go against Arsenal that are correct, then I would accept it. Of course, I'm going to say that. Is it true? Yes, but of course, that's what someone would say. You know what I mean? And because it's what someone would say, and it's what they're expecting me to say, even though it's true, to me, I'm telling the truth and defending myself, and to them, I'm just being any old Arsenal fan that refuses to acknowledge that I would be in this. I would feel the same way if I was in this situation. And, I sympathize to a certain extent, because at that point, there's no way that you can continue to have a conversation, which is a shame, but I understand it, because you're upset, you're not thinking straight, it's not going to happen, and then at that point, you just kind of have to leave it. I think I spent a solid 12 hours after the game really piling into people, and then today I kind of cooled off, because I was just like, these conversations are going nowhere. I'm not going to convince them. They're still mad. If they don't want to acknowledge the fact that time was added on completely correctly, I can't even have a conversation. Now, if you want to talk about, was Konate fouled in the build up, blah blah blah, that's now we're getting into more subjective. Okay, we can have an argument. We can have a debate about that. I don't know if Konate was fouled. Personally, I think no. I think a 50-50 header for the ball is fair game, and Konate was not actually affected by the challenge of the Everton player coming in. He'd already jumped for the ball, and the contact made by the Everton player didn't actually deep. It wasn't like he jumped in the air and was then
Yeah.
knocked down. He very clearly jumped and completed his landing. He just mistimed his jump. The actual contact didn't affect him whatsoever. So I personally don't think it was a foul. Other people disagree with me. Fair enough. I'm a ref, but I'm not Michael Oliver. My decision on, my opinion on this incident makes no difference. And, all I can say is it's not an objective mistake. You might think it's a foul. I say it's not a foul, but it's not an objective mistake. Yeah. And they were, so many Liverpool fans were taking it that extra mile and being like, this is clear corruption. This is, it's a blatant mistake. They're trying to make a title race. They want to manufacture a title race. And it's just like, guys, come on. Arsenal have 2 healthy senior attackers in the squad, plus a 17-year-old. That's it. There's no title race, okay? It's Liverpool's to lose. If you guys choke it, that's embarrassing. But there's no title race. This is Liverpool's to lose. All you have to do is manage the game and don't drop stupid points.
Yeah,
and you will be fine.
Horrible to drop points there.
No one's manufacturing a title race. Unless Arsenal, unless they open up a February transfer window for Arsenal to sign some players, I promise you, no one's manufacturing a title race. Anyway, let's talk about the Champions League.
Yeah.
Because I realized, and I texted you about this, I realized that when we recorded the podcast, we completely forgot that the first round of the knockout playoffs were coming up. So we neglected to talk about the Champions League.
I almost texted you entirely. I almost texted you on Sunday and be like, do you want to record something?
Yeah, honestly, I probably would have done if you had, but I was just like, oh, damn. I was doing my research, and then I looked at the upcoming games, and I was like, oh, my God, wait, that shit's this week. So we just completely forgot to talk about the Champions League, so we're sorry about that. But I think we pumped out enough free content that I think people made up for it. I had a really good week, honestly, all things considered, so I was really happy about that.
Same. It was crazy. My Champions League, what was that, Tuesday was insane. I was just winning 2-unit bet. I don't do a lot of 2-unit bets, but I just was winning 2-unit bet after 2-unit bet. I was like, holy smokes.
Yeah. I almost never go above a unit unless it's borderline broken, or even then I usually stick to a unit. But I laddered Dembele goals, and I dropped 1.5 units across the thing, and I went 1.2 on the goal, 0.2 on a brace, and then 0.1 on a hat trick. So you got 2 goals, which was sick. That's a couple of units there. And then I had an absolutely disrespectful line on Madrid team shots against Man City. Yeah. The line was 11.5. And I'm like, hey, even to be fair, in City's defense, even in games where they haven't been brilliant, they haven't been getting torn to shreds by shots.
Yeah.
But this is Real Madrid. Real Madrid, to get lower than 12 shots as Real Madrid, when you've got Jude, when you've got Valverde, when you've got Vinny, when you've got Mbappe, when you've got Rodrigo, when you've got guys, and you can sub on guys like Arda Güler and Brahim Diaz, all of whom love to shoot. Getting to 12 is not that difficult. Even if they went
with the way City lined up, too.
Exactly. I was just and I actually thought Stones in the midfield was a really good move. I think City collapsed when they moved him back out of midfield into defense because, funnily enough, they lost all sense of physicality and any presence in the midfield that they did have with Stones there.
Yeah.
And so, but I was just that was disrespectful. And I went 2 units across the ladder, and I started on with 1.7 units on the base, and then I put, what did I do? 0.2 units on 18 shots, which was 5-1, and 0.1 unit on 20 shots, which was 10-1. And they both hit. And to be fair, I think I got really lucky because I got the 18, and then on the last sequence of the game when Jude scored that winner, they said that Vinny chipping it over the goalkeeper was a shot. Yeah. And then Jude obviously scored, and any goal counts as a shot. And I was just like, if I'm being honest, I think Vinny is chipping it over the keeper. I think he sees Jude.
Yeah,
and he's just right? I think it's a pass. And everyone who knows me knows that I argue the shit out of shots that I think should be shots but get graded as crosses or just don't get given as shots. That was a generous grade. I did not think Vinny was trying to chip the keeper and put it in the net. I thought it was a pass, but we get 2 shots and that single attack, and that got me from 18 to 20. So I was really happy about that. So that was, and so like I very rarely whip out like multi-unit, exposure across, ladders or stuff like that, but I did it twice on for Champions League this weekend, and they both paid off. So that was really nice.
Sick.
It was a good week. But we should probably talk about the results that happened. Yes. I mean, obviously, once again, Man City have collapsed at the death, and it's just becoming such a recurring thing. I mean, obviously there was the really bad one when I think it was against Feyenoord when they were winning.
Yes,
they were winning 2-0 or 3-0, and they ended up drawing 3-3. They conceded 3 goals in the last 10 minutes or something like that. I mean, I don't understand. I don't get it. They just seem to be mentally broken.
Yeah, dude, it's bad. It's like it makes no sense, and I'm glad though because this shit's funny. I was like, all right, Madrid are already locked in. I took double chance. I was like, Madrid are already locked in at the double chance, right? Like, I don't think City are going to score a late winner. So I went on there and I saw that Madrid draw no bet was plus 145. I was like, all right, I'll take draw no bet plus 145.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, the odds were disrespectful. I know Madrid aren't playing their best ball right now, but Man City look awful. And I was just like, this is such a mismatch because Madrid are going to win the midfield battle. And to be fair, Pep made a fairly decent attempt at stopping that. And it did work for a bit. Yeah. But then as soon as he brought on Rico Lewis to play in the outside back row, I'm just like, I'm sorry. You used to have prime Kyle Walker locking up Vinny. It is an incredibly difficult job to lock up Mbappe and Vinny.
Yep.
And you're tasking it to your young, homegrown English. Is he a teenager still? I don't even know if he's 20 years old yet.
I think he's 20.
I think he might just be 20.
Yeah.
His first major season as a senior professional who had started the season very well and has declined steadily because we've realized that he can't really defend and he's not physical whatsoever. He's only good going forward, and City aren't very good at going forward anymore. So what are you doing throwing him against 2 of the best attackers in the entire world? And no surprise, he got completely just torn to shreds.
Yeah, he did.
Which was just, I mean, I felt sorry for him. I want him to do well because I want, I don't care that he plays for City. I want English guys to do well because I want our squad to be in the best possible shape for the World Cup soon. A World Cup on American soil. I want to go and watch England do well and hopefully win. God forbid England win something in my lifetime. So I want English players to do well. I don't care that they play for City. Even the ones that play for Spurs, I want to see do well. So it's a shame to see him get so, tossed into a baptism of fire against Real Madrid. But that was just a terrible decision by Pep. And he seems to be making increasingly ridiculous decisions. He seems to be second guessing himself. He seems to be either starting the wrong way or reverting to his old strategies and then changing it. I don't see the vision. So, not to question the almighty Pep, because he has contributed a lot to the world of tactics, but he is in a dire form right now, and I don't understand how City are going to change.
I don't think they can change. I just think this is going to be the City that we know for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't see it changing this season. Definitely put it that way.
They're just, I don't know. They just don't have the talent, and I think Pep's too stubborn to kind of realize that they don't have the talent.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that he spunked 60 million on a centre mid and then didn't play him.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Fine. If that doesn't sum up Man City, I don't know what does. Who knows? I mean, but look, we're coming into the second leg. Madrid money line is like minus 115, minus 120. The over is cooked. I got great odds on both teams to score over 2.5. That is now completely in shreds for this second leg.
Yeah.
But Madrid money line at home, I don't care that they quote unquote don't have to win. A draw, yeah, sure, a draw is good enough to get them through, but like minus 120 for Madrid to win at home against this City team, that's really hard to pass up.
Really hard to pass up.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Sporting Lisbon are just bad now, and I mean, I feel like we can just tie it to Ruben Amorim leaving. I mean, like it's pretty clear, and let's not forget who started that. Arsenal spanked them. What was it, 5-1 in their own home? I think it was. I mean, that was the beginning of the end. We ended their unbeaten run. You know, they're unbeaten. They hadn't lost all season. They hadn't lost at home for like a year and a half. So don't forget, it was Arsenal that started that. But yeah, it was pretty much tied to Amorim leaving about a week before that game. So
yeah,
I get that. But they're also just not playing Gyökeres anymore.
No, they're not.
And
that's so weird.
So is he hurt? Because I know he was hurt, but is he seriously still hurt to the point where he can't start a game?
I don't know, dude. He's like, but the crazy thing is, like, he's still coming in. Like,
yeah, they're subbing him on.
Yeah.
So it's such a weird situation because he's playing the last like 30, half an hour or so, even a little bit more. He comes on very early in the second half, but he's not starting games anymore. So I don't get it. I just assume the only rational explanation I could think of is that he's not fully fit and can't start and play 70 to 80 minutes. But it's been going on like this for about a month or so. And he should be, if he's not that fit enough, then he shouldn't be playing.
It's weird.
It's very weird.
Like,
just come to Arsenal. Just tell us you're coming to Arsenal in the summer, and it's all over with.
It's not like, and what's crazy, it's not like Harder's like doing great, you know?
No, not at all.
He's not doing good at all.
Yeah, very weird. I mean, I don't respect Dortmund, but Dortmund winning 3-0 away, I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming at all. So, good for them. And now they can basically, they get a 3-goal advantage coming into your home leg. I can't think of a better situation for them as a team. As a gambler, no, thank you. I do not want to touch that game with a 10-foot pole.
No.
If anything,
I avoided that game once. No,
I didn't. The only thing I did was I put like a quarter of a unit on Gyökeres when he subbed on, just because I was like, okay, buddy, you subbed on, and I could get almost 5-1 on your live goal with half an hour to play. Yeah, fair enough. I'll take that. Let's go ahead and do it. And then they considered 2 more goals. So who's to say? If anything, I think I would go Dortmund double chance under 3.5 because that's almost even money. But even then, I don't even know if they would try to. What's losing by a goal when you're up 3? You know what I mean? So I think the best thing to do is leave that game the fuck alone. Left it alone in the first leg. I'm definitely gonna leave it alone in the second leg when they're up 3-0.
I couldn't even just think about in the game. What makes it worse is the game is in Germany.
Yeah.
Like that makes it even like. What you think? Sporting and come back against the yellow wall?
No.
And
Dortmund will start guys and then take them off after like an hour. Yeah. So there's no. If anything, I think there's probably value in the under, but we'll see.
Yeah.
You can get under 2.5 like almost for like plus 120 or something like that. I mean, like that feels pretty generous. It's like something I want to throw like half a unit on just because Dortmund will just be in like defensive mode, just like lock this shit up, and unless if Sporting start Gyökeres, I won't touch it because, well, I say that if they start him, I'm tempted to ladder his goals. I can't keep talking about this. I'm going to talk myself into plays, and I already told myself I wasn't going to bet that game. So
if he starts, you have to bet his goal.
I feel like you got to at least take him for a goal if he starts. Yeah. And then if he doesn't, then you can just wait for him to sub in, and then you can take him for a goal. But I feel like if he subs in and it's still 0-0, or they're still 3 goals down. He's not. I don't think he's going to try. I just don't think. I mean, well, even if he tries, I don't think the team's going to believe that they can do it, and he won't get the ball. Dude. We'll see. We will see. That Club Brugge Atalanta game.
Holy smokes!
Oh, if we're talking about bad decisions, I mean, the fact that Liverpool fans are making a bigger deal about their invented quote unquote added time versus the Club Bruges fans who had not the Club Bruges fans, they benefited from this. The Atalanta fans,
Yeah.
who got screwed over by one of the softest pens I have ever seen. Ridiculous. I mean, my goodness, if you guys listening haven't seen this penalty incident, go look it up. It is embarrassingly soft. It's I mean, I can't even describe it. It's something you got to go watch for yourself. It's like the slightest of contact, and even then, it's incidental, and the guy just goes down and gets a penalty. So now Atalanta are a goal down, but they're coming into a home leg, so they it shouldn't be a problem for them. But this Bruges side is pretty solid.
They're pretty tough, man. I'm probably gonna be on Atalanta corners, like first half corners. I don't know if I'm gonna take. I haven't decided if I'm gonna take total or spread. It's just a good situation. Like Bruges have no reason to open this match up, right? Just sit in the low block and dare them to beat you.
Yeah, for sure. I guess you kind of just have to hope that they hold on for as long as it takes for you to get your number.
I want them to get to like 4 corners in the first half, and then they could score.
Yeah,
it's always the worst. Like they score right away. That's what I want to take full game.
That's fair enough. I like that. That's a good angle. I like seeing into your dark and twisted corners mind. Yeah. I mean, every time you say you're taking corners, I say I'm going shots. It's all the same thing. It all comes down to the same thing. It's beautifully correlated. You know, shots are going to get you corners most likely, and you're not going to get corners without taking shots. So, I love a team in a losing position. I love a team with their back against the wall. You know exactly what's at stake. You know what's on the line. So, the only problem is the books also know that. So you just have to pray that the line is kind of soft. Like, I remember looking at, what was I looking at? I think it was like the last knockout round, and there was a team that needed, I forget which team it was. This is an incredibly uninsightful analysis here, but it was a team that needed to win. And I was like, oh, I'm going to ladder their shots. And the ladders started at like 18. And I was like, no, thank you. They'd hit that number like once in the Champions League all season. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. I know, like it's already priced in. So I'm just not going to touch that. I would much rather. I got addicted to these like low shot totals. Like when Club Bruges played Man City, their shot line was 7.5. And I was just like, come on, how hard is it to take 8 shots?
Yeah.
And but I've been burned like that before, because then you end up just being like, you see a line that's low and you're like, how hard can it be? And then you watch them get like 20, you have like 20% possession and 3 shots. And you're like, oh fuck, I guess they are shit. I guess there's a reason why they are so bad. That makes sense. So you really have to like, it's more than just can you hit that number. You got to, think about obviously who's playing. You got to think about who they're playing against and what the game script is going to be like. I mean, some things you can't predict. Like I took Monaco shots on the last day of the Champions League phase, and they got a red card inside 10 minutes. Okay, sick. I can't predict that. No one can predict that. And like I think I said this last time, they had 4 shots inside 10 minutes. Then the red card happened, and they took 0 shots for 80 minutes after that. Okay, and their line was 10.5. Like you can't tell me that's not hitting if they stay 11 on 11. But we'll never know. So it's a losing bet. It is what it is. Nothing you can do about that.
Nothing you can do at all.
No. That being said, I got absolutely humbled because I had the audacity to put out Bayern over 19.5 shots. Ooh. And they played that game against Celtic embarrassingly poorly. I mean, that's not how Bayern play. And I'm just so mad that Celtic goal that happened inside 30 seconds didn't count, because I saw that notification come through and I was like, oh, fuck yes. This is perfect. And then they got disallowed and they just weren't shooting. And then they went up 2-0 and there was no reason to shoot.
It was like the worst freaking 2-0 ever, too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Elise's goal was really nice and Kane's finish was gorgeous. So, good goals. But that's, they were playing almost like Arsenal, like just weirdly efficiently. I never ladder Arsenal shots. And if anything, I take their under. Like when Arsenal were played against Shakhtar, their line was like 22.5, and I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. This is a game that we manage nicely, and we win like 2-0 or 3-0, and we'll take 15 or 16 shots, and that's basically exactly what happened. Yeah. Arsenal never fly over their total unless they concede first. So in close games, I just don't touch it at all.
It's tough, right?
And in games where we're projected to like if our team total is over 2.5, then our shots line should never be above 20, just because we will achieve that in the most calculated way possible.
I don't even like take Arsenal player props unless it's someone who doesn't like really play a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're like they get the start and they play a lot and like they're gonna be hungry,
Right. Yeah, no, this is why knowing like the profile of a team helps so much when it comes to this stuff, because it's just like Arsenal can spread stuff around. Our threats can come from anywhere. So picking one player to do it is, it's playing roulette, because you could, like, Odegaard's shot line is always 1.5, and that man will take 3 or 4, or he will take none, and you can't predict what's going to happen, because there is no way to predict what's going to be required of him in the game scenario. There's just no way. Now, if you can get a good line on like Saka 2.5, that's different, because Saka's a primary threat. But without him, we had to spread it around a lot. So picking one player never really helps, and we never really rack up the shots. So the team shots is never really a brilliant idea. That's why if I ever touch Arsenal shots, I would take the under. And the 2 times I've done it, it's cashed easily. Like, not even close. I think both times I took under 21 or 22.5, and they ended with like 15 or 16. And it was just like, I didn't even sweat.
I have to interrupt this. I just won 50 units.
Fuck you. Wait, what?
Wow, that's sick.
50 on what? Is this fucking golf or something?
No, on a girls' college basketball.
Oh, sick. How did you make 50 units on girls' college basketball?
This team was plus 900 to win. And I'm in like this like friend group chat, and I was like, I was in the shower. My buddy goes, "Yo, did you see that? Did you see that money line?" I go, "Oh shit, how much is it worth?" He's like, "Probably just a max." But I missed like the whole conversation, and they were like saying max the spread, which was 11.5, but I just maxed the money line.
Oh my god! Fair enough. All right. Okay. High roller Brad out here.
This is lit.
Drinks are on you.
This is so lit.
That's fair enough.
Trying not to like make any noises during the thing. They were down like 14 funny. Going into the fourth quarter too. And then they went up by 6. They went up by 6, and I was just like, play it cool. And then the game just ended. So
that's sick. That's awesome. Good stuff.
Oh man, that's sick.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up this weekend. Honestly, there aren't that many interesting games, so this will probably go fairly quickly. And there are only a few Prem games, and really outside of the Prem, there's really not much going on. But let's talk about the Prem. So the first game we have is Brighton against Chelsea. Obviously, you guys know this by now. We're recording on a Thursday. This will come out on the Friday. So for you, this game is today. We've talked about both of these teams. This is a both team to score over 2.5 kind of game. This is a goals kind of game.
I had both teams to score over 2.5 as the bet I was giving out on BetUS, and then I ended up just parlaying both teams to score with West Ham, with the West Ham match. I just feel like neither team defends, and also it's a good spot to bet goals for Brighton because they've been shut out back-to-back games. Chelsea only have 3 clean sheets all season.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Chelsea are coming into, dare I say, a slight bit of a crisis here, because out of nowhere, Nicholas Jackson is out until March or April, and I don't know what happened to him. It wasn't like he got injured, and I was like, "Ooh, nasty injury. He might be out for a bit." He was just playing. I mean, to be fair, he hasn't been playing that well to begin with anyway. the last month or so. He had a great first part of the season. I say great. He played well. Cole Palmer was connecting to him really well. He had a good start. He's done nothing lately. I don't even remember the last time he scored. In the league, I feel like it was in December or November or a while ago.
Dude, and he had such a sick start to the season. You'd feel like he was like scoring like at will.
Yeah. The last time he scored was December the 15th against Brentford. Now he's had 2 assists since then, but he hasn't scored in almost 2 months, and now he's going to be out for a bit. So he's injured. Their striker from Barca, Mark Guiu, I'm never sure how to say that, and I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, but he's out too.
Yep.
So now it's all up to Christopher Nkunku, who almost got sold in the January transfer window. So that's going to be interesting. I'm tentatively curious to see how this goes. I don't think this is going to happen. But whenever I lock in a bet, I'm always just like, okay, if this bet loses, how would this bet lose? And I don't think Brighton would be the one to sell this. I think there's potentially a chance that Chelsea don't score on the road here. But it entirely hinges on whether Cole Palmer turns up to play or not. Because if Cole Palmer has not been playing brilliantly recently, he's been playing okay, not great, not terribly, but Chelsea is so reliant on him as an individual.
He hadn't been playing well
when he's not.
He was hurt.
Yeah, when he's not backpacking the team, Chelsea are noticeably worse.
Yep.
So if Cole Palmer doesn't turn up, Chelsea aren't scoring.
He needs to show up.
They haven't got another player that can change the game on his own.
Who's going to get a goal?
If Nkunku starts, I will consider his props.
Dude, but I just want to bet like his shot on target. I hope it's even like a little playable.
That might be wishful thinking, but we'll see. I'll have to go check it out. As I've got the game open, one shot on target for Christian Nkunku is minus 250.
Minus 250.
Yeah, no. No one's really playable unless you think a Dingra minus 115, Mitoma minus 110. But at that point, you're playing Brighton roulette because it could come from anyone.
Dude, literally could come from anywhere, and you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, that's the way it goes. And then you can't even bet shots because the books know this game is going to be wide open. So both of these teams' shot lines is like 14.5. And it's just like, no, I'm good, thanks. That being said, on Caesars, you can get both teams to score over 2.5 at minus 130. I've noticed recently that the Caesars same game parlay function gives you slightly better odds, just than what they offer built out. Just like they're built out both teams to score over 2.5 is like minus 140, minus 145 for just what you're seeing on most other books. Yeah. So the fact that if you manually build it out, you go into their same game parlay function and you build it out. Do both of them to score, parlay that with over 2.5, you get minus 130. I think I'm going to lock that in right now and send that out.
I like that.
Minus 130, that's a nice price. Did you play both teams to score over 2.5?
No, I just did both teams to score in a parlay, and I think the number that I was getting for both teams to score and over 2.5 before, like when that was my original bet, was minus 150.
That's what I'm saying. It's across all the other books, I'm seeing minus 140, minus 145, minus 150 in that region. So minus 130 to me feels like a really good. A really nice value just to play that and not get involved in anything else.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I think it should be a fun game. I will probably bet on Palmer just because I feel like he needs to really turn up here. But honestly, I might just leave it. I think I might just stick with both teams to score and over 2.5. That being said, I'll probably toss $10 on a little one of my usual goal assist exact combos, like a Nkunku goal, Palmer assist, and then for Brighton, I don't know off the top of my head which one of their players is best for delivering that kind of stuff, but you know the vibes. That's if an exciting game, I always I try and cook up one of those and run it for 1/10 of a unit, nothing crazy, and sometimes it works. It only has to work once to pay off for like a month. So yeah, it's good stuff. Let's talk about Leicester against Arsenal, and I don't really want to talk about it because it's not going to be good. But this is we are fucked. There's no good way to put it. We made a gamble, and I understand it to a certain extent because we didn't want to sign bodies for the sake of bodies. Arteta obviously wants to sign players of a specific. He's always said we want to sign players of a certain profile that we don't have. So I get that. That being said, we did try to sign multiple players. We tried to get Morata on a 6-month loan. We tried to sign Ollie Watkins. We tried to get Mattis Tell on a loan. None of those worked out, whether we didn't pay enough money or the player decided there was a better opportunity for them. It just didn't work out. So we ended up with nothing. That was a calculated risk.
Yeah.
The risk then immediately backfired.
Instantly.
And it's frustrating because the amount of people that are now immediately retconning and just being like we all knew it was a gamble. But so many players just don't understand that when available, you play your best players. There's no I understand you don't want to overwork your players. And I've talked extensively about how that is a problem. But everyone's yelling at Arteta for quote unquote overplaying Saka. Saka's minutes per game have actually gone down the last 3 seasons. And if you ever speak to him, he's always like, no, I want to play. I want to be out there. I want to play. So there's no question about playing him. If he wants to play, and he actually wasn't getting played as much. So, the fact that Arteta is getting criticized for overplaying Saka, and that's the reason he got injured, I think is a little ridiculous, especially because Saka's, 22, 23. This is not, and I can see it already, this is not the same as Barcelona playing their 17-year-olds 90 minutes twice a week. That is irresponsible. That's there's a difference there, and if you guys can't see the difference, then fucking argue with the wall about it. I've said all I can say about that subject. There is a difference there. But it's so frustrating because now obviously it's immediately backfired, and you can yell and point fingers at Arteta, at the board, all you like. But at the end of the day, the reality of the situation is we made a gamble and it hasn't paid off. And look, we're all wise in hindsight. As soon as you can say, oh, obviously we should have signed someone. No, not really, obviously. Who were we going to sign and how much were we going to pay them? And how would that deal affect the squad? And how would that deal affect our potential signings in the summer transfer window? No one's considering the actual practical fallout of, just bringing someone in for the sake of it. We made a calculated risk and it hasn't paid off because now Martinelli is hurt and is out for about a month and Havertz is done for the season.
Yeah.
So what can you do? And I'm so pissed because I said, a week or two ago, Havertz has run like the most out of any player in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's the amount of distance he's covering on a game-to-game basis is absurd. And you can tell he was exhausted. At the end of the last game that he played, or the game before the Newcastle game, we won the game. He collapsed to the floor at the end of the game. And it was just not even because he was injured, just out of sheer exhaustion. And I remember saying, please just get him through the Newcastle game, and then it's good. Then it's our warm weather training camp trip to Dubai. He can relax, he can train, and everyone will come back healthy. And then, of course, he gets through the Newcastle game and then pulls his fucking hamstring while we're in Dubai on our training trip.
Brutal. So brutal.
You can't plan for that. No one can predict that. No one can plan for that. It's not, I'm so tired. And damn well the people who are saying, oh, I can't believe Arteta has put us in this situation. Now we're screwed. Havertz is out for the season. They were the same people that were saying that Havertz was dog shit every fucking week for the last month or so. Damn well it's the same fucking toxic Arsenal fans who were calling Havertz every name under the sun, who were DMing his wife, all sorts of nasty shit, which she got really upset about, and rightfully so, because that's unacceptable. The same fans who were giving him all that shit are going to turn around and be like, oh, Havertz is out for the season. We're so screwed. This is Arteta's fault. Just shut the fuck up. There'll always be something to complain about. And I love Arsenal, but my goodness, our fan base contains some of the worst fans.
Yep.
So frustrating.
Sorry,
Yeah, and now the reality of the situation is we've got Trossard, we've got Sterling, and we have Nwaneri. That's it. Those are our attackers in the senior squad. Nwaneri is 17, Sterling is on loan, and Trossard is, I like Trossard, but he's our hope. That's it. Trossard is now our primary goal scoring hope. And God forbid, I'm not exactly sure when we end up playing Chelsea. It's definitely within the next few weeks or so. But Sterling can't play in that game because he's on loan from Chelsea. So for that game, if Martinelli isn't back, we've got Nwaneri and Trossard, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now, as an Arsenal fan, that scares the shit out of me. As a gambler, it excites me because there's an outside chance that Zinchenko or Kieran Tierney ends up playing on the left wing. And if that happens, I'm hammering their shots.
You're wild.
But knowing Arteta, he'll probably change like a 5-3-2 or something absurd like that. And you know damn well if Arteta switches to a heavy defense or a heavy midfield with like one or two attackers, everyone's going to be like, ooh, Arteta playing so defensive. He's such a boring manager. And it's just like, hey, have you seen who we've got available? You prick. Media literacy is through the floor. It's awful. But hey, that's the way it goes. Anyway, Leicester against Arsenal. If both teams' score is vaguely bettable, take that.
Yep.
I don't see us keeping a clean sheet, which is sad. But the last time we played Leicester, it was oddly close, but that's when they got that stupid goal. Yeah, both teams' score is minus 106, and that's on FanDuel alone. So, yeah, I think that's a decent way to approach it. I just don't see us keeping a clean sheet. Well, what's concerning is that if you think about how does that lose, there's a chance Arsenal don't score, and that would be embarrassing.
Yeah. If I had the guts, I would take plus 1.5, but it's just there's no way to put myself in position to where that's a reliable bet, right? Like,
yeah,
they don't defend well enough for me.
No, yeah, that's very fair. I mean, under 2.5 is plus 124. You could parlay under 3.5 at minus 198 with something else. It could easily be a low-scoring game, but that, again, then you got to bank on the fact that Leicester can keep us at bay. And even though we don't have that many attackers available, can you really bank on Leicester to defend? Probably not.
No, you can't. It's like it's a lose-lose there.
Yeah, I think both teams, if I was going to play this game, and at the end of the day, I probably won't. One, because I rarely bet Arsenal games at this point. It's just not, I don't see a good angle at doing it unless I'm fading them. I don't want to trust Leicester here because Leicester aren't really reliable. And to top it off, it's the 7:30 a.m. kickoff. And as much as I feel like it makes me a bad Arsenal fan, that's a game I really just want to sleep through and wake up and pray that we win. I don't know if I can get up at 6:30 in the morning for lineups or even roll out of bed at 7:30 in the morning to watch the game and sit through 2 hours of that when I could sleep through and save myself the misery.
Yeah.
Which feels like it makes me a bad fan, but you know what? I'm going to put myself first there. All right, let's talk about Man City Newcastle. This is a fun game. And I say that because the disrespect on Newcastle is absurd.
Crazy.
Newcastle double chance is right now on FanDuel. It's minus 120, and I've seen it better elsewhere. And I'm pretty sure you got decent odds because I think, what did you end up taking? Did you take the double chance or did you take one of those funky Asian spreads?
I took the Asian line of plus 0.75.
Nice. Gotcha.
Dude, even if this were like a regularly scheduled match with no crazy scheduling around it, it's hard to say that you want to take Manchester City to win. Now you have a Manchester City side who lose Akanji. Ake played 60 minutes. Foden got a little knock. De Bruyne just played 81 minutes. Oh, yeah. Then the following week, they have to play Real Madrid midweek.
Yep.
That's a bad schedule spot.
Yeah, it's not a brilliant spot. Now, to be fair, they've got The game's on the Saturday. The Madrid game isn't until the Wednesday, so they've got that one extra built-in spot. But even so, you have to imagine that they are. Well, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, we say that, but this is the problem.
Yeah.
You need to come top 4 if you're Man City, because realistically speaking, you're not winning the Champions League. Now you're gonna give it your best shot, obviously, but you're down a goal and you've got to go to the Bernabeu. That's not good for anyone. So you can't just give up on this game and rest players for the Champions League.
No.
Because you need to care about this game, and Newcastle are a top 4 rival. This is a huge game for implications in the race for Champions League qualification. Now, to be fair, it's almost guaranteed that England are going to get the 5th spot. You know, they're going to give out 2 extra spots. We got fucked last year because we were awful. This year, English teams are doing significantly better. So we are most likely going to get the UEFA coefficient, which will get us that extra Champions League spot. So right now, the top 4 is Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, which is fucking awesome, Chelsea and City. And then Newcastle are right behind them. Here's the situation. Well, no, Chelsea are in 4th, City are in 5th, yeah, and then Newcastle are in 6th. City are in 5th on 41 points with plus 13 goal difference. Newcastle are in 6th on 41 points with plus 13 goal difference. They're on identical placements. The only reason City are higher is because they have 48 goals scored to Newcastle's 42. So this is a massive swing game, assuming that 5th gets you Champions League, which you can't assume for sure. Yep. It's very likely, but you can't assume for sure. This is a must-win game. And so you can't just rest. So it's a really tricky situation, but I still think it benefits Newcastle because, and this is why we talked about Newcastle so highly in our preseason preview, Newcastle have no European football going on.
Yeah,
they have nothing to rest for. So they're in a good spot. Their next game isn't until 10 days later against Forest at home.
It's a really good spot.
10 days later. I meant 8 days later. A week and 1 day. But yeah, so I find it very difficult to ignore Newcastle double chance. I used to really, really hate betting Newcastle on the road. But at this point, the reason why I'm not going to play it now is because I want to make sure that Anthony Gordon is fit. I know he's a bit of an injury concern. I think he pulled a muscle. But as far as I'm aware, he's due to be back in the starting lineup for this City game. I want to make sure that he is because Newcastle, Harvey Barnes, I think, is also hurt. And Miguel Almiron has now left for Atlanta. So Newcastle is kind of without a decent winger if Gordon is out. You can play Joe Willock.
Gordon's out.
We'll see. I saw a report that said I saw a report from earlier in the week that said he was ruled out, and then I saw a report from later that day that said apparently he's due to be back. So that's why I'm uncertain. I'm going to wait to see what the lineup is. But assuming he's playing, if we got Gordon, we got Isak, I'll take the double chance. But yeah, should be a really good game. I'm excited for that. All right, last game in the Premier League that I want to talk about is Spurs against Man U. My goodness. If there was ever a game to parlay, if you needed like a builder piece and you would just throw in like an over, this is the game.
Yeah.
This game could easily be like 4-3. And I'm not even going to pick a side. This should be a load of fun. What do you think about this, Brad?
I think it's going to... I was going to bet Son goal. I think we're going to see goals here. Maybe Tottenham John No bet caught my eye a little bit.
I like that. I just don't want to pick a side because both these teams are shit.
So shit. And they both can give up a ton of goals.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah. I mean, both these teams are embarrassing. I can't even think. I mean, that's why I'm so excited for this game because it really should just be balls to the wall, back and forth, absolute chaos. But God forbid, picking a side. No, thank you. I know. I mean, the line's probably like the over is probably massively juiced to the over at like 3.5. I know it's going to be absolutely horrific. Let's have a look. 3 and oh shit! I tell you what, Oh, 3.5 is plus 110. That's actually not unreasonable, if I'm being honest. I thought it would be a lot worse. Now I'm kind of tempted to see what both teams to score. Oh my goodness. Both teams to score over 2.5 is minus 169, which means that, and I'm building this on the fly, if I add in a goal scored in both halves, my little juicer, bang, both teams to score over 2.5, a goal scored in both halves, minus 127.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to look that in right now.
The Sam special.
Oh yeah, and then you end up getting a 0-0. The fact that PSG City game was 0-0 at halftime, and then there were like 6 goals in the second half. I was just like, come on, that's just rude. But it's a rare occurrence. We'll see. Anyway, wow, I don't think the over would be that reasonable, but I think that's a great bet. Anything else you like for this game, Brad?
No, dude. I have 0 bets in that game.
Beautiful. All right, fair enough. All righty, that's all I want to talk about in England. There were no La Liga games that I want to talk about. Bundesliga, we should probably mention the fact that Leverkusen are playing Bayern.
Yeah. Screw this
nice.
game.
Great comment. To be fair, we thought this game was going to be amazing when it came around earlier in the season. It was like the most boring, like, what was it, 1-0 or something like that? I think it was 1-0. I think Leverkusen took like 4 shots.
I think it was like 1-1.
Maybe. I forget. It was really boring.
Yeah, because I think it was 1-1. I think like there was 2 goals in the first half and then dead.
Yeah. And Leverkusen were completely like shut out. They just couldn't get the ball off.
Yeah. It was stupid.
It was terrible.
And that's why I was like, I see the under 3 here, but it's juice. So I'd rather just like, if I'm at that point, I'm like, just going to pass.
Yeah. Fair enough. Can't argue with that. All right. Oh, there were some interesting games in the Serie A, Brad. We've got Lazio against Napoli and Juventus against Inter Milan. So as a resident Italian expert, what do you feel about these 2 games? I think it's kind of rare that we get 2 big games over in Italy, but we do. So what do you think?
For this Lazio-Napoli game, probably just both teams to score here. Minus 128. It's a playable price here. It's hard to be like anything against Napoli. If you want Napoli, they just had that bad game against Udinese, and I think that they're can bounce back from that. Lazio, they were in a bad run of form, but had a pretty good result. I think both teams to score is you got to play that there.
That's a really nice number.
For the Juventus game, what was that? I don't know. I think I'm just gonna bet Inter Milan to win. Juventus have looked better, but they're still conceding dumb goals. So
yeah, fair enough. I am not a Serie A expert, so I think I'll just defer to you on those. Both teams to score, really nice number. And yeah, I was going to ask you if you think Juventus can get anything out of that game at home against Inter. I feel like you feel like you have to, but you have to. You have to, but the question is, will you? And I guess you don't think you're going to. What is the number on Inter Milan money line? Do you know off the top of your head?
125.
Plus or minus?
Plus.
Oh baby! So what's tie no bet?
Minus 160.
Okay, it's a little bit much. Okay, that's tempting. That's very tempting. All right, that's good to know. There's also no good games over in Ligue 1, which is not a surprise to anyone because PSG only play a good team once every month or 2, so we very rarely talk about that. So I guess we'll have to wrap up with, let's talk about, I feel like we covered this when we spoke about what happened in the first legs of the Champions League because, we kind of know what's going to happen. But I guess let's run down the situation because obviously the second legs are now going to be this upcoming week. So I'll briefly remind everyone of what the situation is for all of these teams. So PSG are up 3-0. They're going to be playing at home against Brest. Again, that's one of those games where I think probably don't touch it unless you want to bet Dembele, but my guess is Dembele goal is going to be awfully priced at home, and they're up 3-0. There's really no need for them to score.
Yeah.
So there's that. Juventus are up 2-1 against PSV, but have to make the road trip to the Netherlands. So that's going to be a really interesting second leg. City against Madrid, we've spoken about. City are down 3-2 on aggregate and have to go to Spain. That's tough. Dortmund up 3-0 and get a home leg. Again, exact same situation as PSG. They're in a great position, but it makes me not want to bet it. And then Atalanta are going to be at home against Club Brugge. They are down 2-1. Bayern are going to be at home against Celtic. They are up 2-1. And you know what? Fair play to Celtic. That, you know, the fact that they scored against Bayern, you know, brilliant. That's a great achievement. I think they really did themselves proud in that game. And then we've got some really fascinating lower scoring ones. We've got AC Milan, who are going to be playing at home in their second leg. They are down 1-0 to Feyenoord. And we've got Benfica, who are going to be playing at home in their second leg. They are up 1-0 against Monaco. So I haven't looked at any specific lines yet off the top of my head outside of Madrid money line. Off the top of my head, Milan at home against Feyenoord. God, if there's a time for Santi Jimenez to turn up, it's got to be this game.
Yes, right.
The fact that he's playing against his former club so soon after the transfer, that's such a rare thing to happen just because, you know, I mean, it's just a rare thing to happen. This transfer went through a week or two ago, and he's already playing his former club. And he blanked against them in their stadium. Now he's coming back to Milan. You got to turn up here, surely.
Got to turn up. I think I'm going to take Milan. I think it was -1. It's probably where I'll go.
Yeah, fair enough. I want to back Monaco's shots, but Monaco have now fucked me over with 2 red cards in 2 games in the Champions League, and I'm done with their shit. It's so they're throwing games away, and I mean, if their lines in like the low teens, if I can get like 11, 12, 13, you know, I gotta take that because you're down 1-0. They've got loads of guys who can shoot. Minamino, Bentancur, their new striker Biarritz. They haven't got Ben yet. He used to play for them. He's gone now. Mbolo, you know, they've got they're like I consider them the Brighton of Ligue 1. They just have so many just like solid attackers who can all play a part in the attack, who all like to shoot. They are so if I can get their team line at that around that you know the low teen number, I gotta take that. But if they get another red card, so help me God, fuck them to the moon. But that's what I'm looking at. And then I mean, Atalanta shots, but again, my guess is that line's going to be like 18. I'm not going to take it if it's that high. Bayern game, I don't want to touch. They should win easily.
Yeah.
Milan, I might take. I tell you what, if Milan team shots are around that like 13, 14, 15, I think I got to take that just because
Milan aren't keeping a clean sheet either.
Yeah, for sure. They're not keeping a clean sheet, and they've got Leao likes to shoot. They've just got João Felix, who you fucking know likes to shoot. Reinders has been kind of cooling off recently, but he can always shoot. He will have like games where he doesn't do anything. Yeah. And like, now that Felix is playing the 10 and Reinders has been moved back to like defensive mid, you know, he's he's not taking as many shots, but he can always he has a game where he'll rip out 3 or 4.
Yeah. You
know, and then really whoever they play on the wing, I mean, Jimenez is going to shoot now. Pulisic is going to shoot. So, you know, if I can get that team prop, the team shots line around that, you know, 13, 14, 15, I think I've got to take that. But we'll see. Brad, any other bets or games that you want to talk about?
No, man.
Beautiful.
I'm excited. I'm going to handicap the Champions League Europa. God, it's haunting me. I'm going to handicap the Champions League slate a little bit more, and then I'll have some action for sure.
Nice. Well, you know where you can catch that action if we give out plays for free. Brad, plug that social media.
At MrBradThomas on X. And be on the lookout. The Premier League betting power rankings will be out today. Unfortunately, it will not include the Friday game, but we'll be good for the weekend matches.
Nice. Awesome. You guys can follow me on Twitter at FIFA Brit. And if you haven't signed up for Gold Boys already, you can do so at goldboys.com. It's a great time to sign up. You know, I mean, obviously NFL is done, but we got loads of other sports. And as you guys know, soccer is still going on, and this is the exciting part of the season. So it's a great time to get involved. Like I said, you can sign up at goldboys.com. And as always, thank you very much to the Gold Boys Network for continuing to put out this podcast. We appreciate you very much. And yeah, it's good to chat it up with you, Brad.
Yeah.
Wraps up our nice little late night session. It is currently midnight for us, so we've been really burning the midnight oil to get this ready to go. So it's going out in the grand total of 6 hours. So RIP to our producer's sleep schedule. Sorry about that, fellas. But if you guys are listening at home and you aren't following us already, drop us a follow wherever you get your podcast content from, whether it's Apple, whether it's Spotify, whether it's any other website of your choice. Drop us a follow. And if you're feeling particularly generous, give us a nice little 5-star review as well. Brad, it's been great to see your gorgeous, gorgeous face. Best of luck with all your bets this weekend, and to everyone listening at home, best of luck with all of your bets as well. Thank you very much for listening, and we will catch you guys next week. Peace out.